Namaste programs and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator Leg 5 of the Nevada bush trip. We're going from Madame Airport to Mina Airport, which is 056 to 3Q0. Let's get going. We're starting off 37 degrees. Alley-oop. Basically the direction of the runway. We've got fuel, the flaps are in the right spot. Doesn't really feel like the trimming's in the right spot, but we'll allow it. So 5 minutes 19 seconds. Basalt Junction. When you're in the air again, head northeast along Nevada's Route 6 towards and through Montgomery Pass. Continue along the desolate mountain road a few miles until you reach a junction with Nevada State Route 360 at the former town of Basalt. Okay, alright. Heading to this junction. Trimming was a little bit harsh, probably didn't need to do quite that much. We're basically following the road and this strange aqueduct, river slash bit of weird water. Again, the aliens have obviously left this here. I realized after our last visitation from the alien Spire spacecraft, the reason we didn't find any mules in the mule capital, what was it, named Bishop? Because the aliens were kidnapping them. They're abducting the mules. And then this river thing here, aqueduct, it's part of it as well. Don't try and tell me it's not. Didn't start my clock. Too busy thinking about aliens. The aliens have put something in my mind that makes me forget about the clock. Alright, well, that was probably about a minute and a half, 5.5 minutes. So we've probably got 4 minutes to go now that I've pressed the clock on. Like the champion pilot slash YouTuber I am. Okay, we definitely want to get over this hill, because obviously the alternative, ploughing into the side of it, does not do wonders for our complexion, and we want to stay pretty. Spoiler alert, it would probably be an improvement for me. There's a reason I don't have a webcam. Well, I have a webcam, but the reason I don't have it on. There you go. Facecam reveal when. Okay, I think we're probably high enough now that we can level out a bit. There we go. Trim down just a little bit. It's very twitchy. Very twitchy. That's too twitchy. There we go. That's a little bit better. Drop our speed just a little bit. Or our power anyway. You know what? We can actually go... We must be having... Would that be a tailwind? Or a headwind, perhaps? Perhaps a headwind. Alright, what are we looking for? Until you reach a junction with Nevada State Route 360. In about, well, we've done 2 minutes on my clock, so another 2 minutes, I sort of decided, roughly. There must be a junction between this road below us. And we're leaving that giant plane. Goodbye, giant plane. P-L-A-I-N. Alright. And we're headed into, well, this area. Lots of little roads and tracks and all sorts of shit going on here. Yeah, another minute and a bit. And we should be seeing what junction, which one's, where's the highway? Oh, State Route 360 at the former town of basalt. Now, what's a former town when it looks like from the air? Will it have rendered in buildings from the algorithm, or was it just empty fields and dust? I guess this is the junction here. It must be about right. Another minute or so on the clock. Where would we be heading after that? Kind of this way, yeah. So we're following this road next. Alright, this is the junction. We have arrived. Look at this mess of fucking tracks and things. What's going on here? I guess it's an old mine. And this must be the old town of Basalt. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that was a town there. Interesting. Interesting. Alright, once we're over the 3 city, we now turn to 15 degrees for 11 minutes 39. There we go, 15. Bumped a button on the keyboard, which meant I was kept turning. There we go. It's just a debacle with me today. Okay, we're going to Tonopah Junction. Head northeast at the Route 360 junction. I know I say route sometimes and route others. Most countries say route, but I'm Australian. Route means to fuck, so I tend to say route, but Route 360 junction, and twist through the hills of Mineral County, Nevada. After you pass the impressive Moho Mountain, watch for another upcoming junction where your path intersects Veterans Memorial Highway 95 near the dried up Rhodes Salt Marsh. Right, so what's happened to our road? It went that way, so we're not heading that way. We're just heading up over these hills here. Alright, good to know. What are we meant to be doing? 15. There we go. Get 15 going. Excellent, excellent. Soon may the weatherman come, bringing us hurricane storms and sun. The next fine day we'll have some fun, but for now it's fucking snow. I've been obsessed with this fucking sea shanty thing. It started on TikTok. It's all over the fucking internet. Been writing sea shanties left, right and centre because it's just stuck in my head, that fucking song. Yeah. Why this is a completely different colour to the rocks around it. It's chalk or something, perhaps. Or maybe it was photographed when it was snowing. Let's not discount that particular possibility, although then, you know, you'd expect there to be... Well, I guess it's a bit higher than surround, so there might have been snow on this area, but not here. Yeah, I think it might be snow, given that there's a bit of whiteness there. Maybe. Maybe. Right, so in something like 8 minutes, we should be running into a road salt marsh and then another intersection between 2 roads. Now, I'm just looking out over here. Is that main road there that's now heading along over there? So we sort of want to keep that one in sight. And then I suspect 8 minutes, that's a fair way away. That might be the salt marsh over there. Given that a salt marsh is almost certainly a former lake or a sea, and it'd be quite flat, like what we just left behind. Years of Brownian motion, taking huge mountains down to just flat little salt plains. You know, when you're up here looking at all of the topography, all of that stuff seems pretty obvious. Like, I mean, yeah, if you were to just dump a gazillion, which is like 10 million bazillions, a gazillion tons of water all of this would fill up. All of this would be water, you know, and yeah, it would make sense that this all used to be water. In before a geologist comes into my comment section and says, "You are an idiot. You know nothing." And I'd be like, "Yes, you are correct. Thank you for correcting me." This was done by millions of years of tiny little fairy feet walking along the plain because they were going from here to here, and that's why it's so flat. Plus, they had goats. Haven't seen any aliens yet, but I mean, I think we've had our fair share of aliens now. You're thinking these are little dirt tracks, they must be. They're not rivers, are they? I mean, some of that would be rivery stuff, but maybe it's just ex-rivers. Otherwise, I mean, this looks like it might have been something like a quarry or whatever, so there is a road to that. I mean, that does look like a road, yeah? Rather than... But then where does it go? Are these roads? Or are they just sort of, you know, ex-rivers? They don't look like rivers. Where in coronation am I flying? Let's get back on track, shall we? What have we done? 5.5 minutes of 11.5 minutes, so still 6 minutes to go. We're following a road, so that's good. That's good. We haven't lost track of civilization. That's always what you want to see when you're flying around. And in fact, when we were doing Patagonia and Alaska, there were moments there it's like, I wouldn't be comfortable flying in a, you know, VFR aircraft in these areas because there's nothing. There's no roads to land on. There's no, if you go down anywhere, you're just in the middle of fucking nowhere. No one can get to you. Whereas when I was learning to fly actual aircraft, you know, you're always trained to constantly be looking out for, oh, I could land there, or there's, you know, there's a golf course there I could land at, or, you know, at the very least, if I land over here that's not too far from the main road and people can come and get me. And but yeah. Sorry about that. My controller cable had decided to wrap itself around the handle of my desk. And, yeah, I lost control of the controller. Ironically. Perhaps not irony. No, that's irony. You'd expect to have control of a controller. So losing control of a controller is ironic. Let's not start that argument. Oh, well that definitely looks like a salt flat, doesn't it? Or a salt marsh. Rhodes Salt Marsh. And there is a junction where your path, which is where I am, intersects the Veterans Memorial Highway 95. I'm guessing that's here. Looks like there's a highway going off this way. We've basically been following this road. So let's hope that's where it is. That'll be, what are we, 7:43, so another 4 minutes. Yeah, it looks about 4 minutes away. Again, this plane's slower than the other ones we were flying, so my judging of distance is not quite on. I was getting quite good at it with the other planes. You know, this looked like about a minute, maybe a minute and a half. Now with this plane, it's probably more like 2-3 minutes. Definitely looks like a junction, doesn't it? I'm going to call that the Tonopah Junction, if it doesn't already have a name. Crazy colours in these hills here. Don't think this is a road. This is the stitching between two sets of aerial photography. Either that or there's been one hell of an earthquake. Perhaps the aliens just took this whole section up, had a bit of a probe of it, and then, you know, teleported it back down, but not quite, you know, 100% where it was. Alright, Junction. You and I have business together. Why am I dropping out of the sky all of a sudden? Now why is my nose... There must be a weird wind going on there. Let's see here. Let's see here. And now we're dropping out of the sky even more. When we hit this junction, we'll do the next turn. That is a big junction. And yet there's nothing around here. Crazy. Crazy, I tell you. Alright, I think it's time to turn. We're about a minute early, but yeah, good enough. So let's see, we're doing 3:46 now for 4 minutes 18. This is the last segment, and we're heading to Mina Airport. Follow Highway 95 north for a relatively short distance, and you'll soon see the small town of Mina on the horizon. I see nothing. Oh yes I do, there it is. To the east stands an unassuming public use airport, the next stop on your bush trip adventure. I think this looks like it's a town here. And where does it say? To the east of it, so... Alright. Looking at the picture, there's a road, a town, some white stuff, salt flats, and then a runway. I think, well, that could actually be it there, maybe. Let's head in that direction. We're following this road. 3:46. We're right on top of it. Look at that. What's all this? What's all this shit? Why are there zigzag roads off the road? What is that? Is that to service, you know, power pylons or something? I have so many questions about the world and so little desire to actually look any of it up. You know? You know? What? You know? What would I even Google? Why does what's it called? Highway 95 have zigzag roads off it? Are they canals or something, maybe? They're not actual roads? Maybe. So maybe like there's a river or a creek coming along here and they don't want it to hit the road, so they divert it to two bits that go under? Figured it out. I figured it all out. There you go. That is, if that's not what it is, it's what it is now. Is that the runway? It does seem to match the picture. Again, it's not so much a runway as someone has mowed, or you know, just like taken one of those ice scrapers along the actual dust and just scraped up a line here. Oh, I think we're getting pretty close then. We can power down to get our flaps down. Hope that is actually a runway. Okay, flaps down. There we go. Bit of power because we're about to fall out of the sky. Probably go to this view. Yeah, look at that. Look at that view with the hills and the mountains and the salt flats and the marshes and the whatevers. It's all terribly awesome if you ask me. if I've mentioned this on my channel before, but when I was much younger, 20 years ago, I did want to be a pilot, and I started training to be a pilot while I was doing university on other things. And yeah, the pilot training just ended up being too expensive. My parents were paying for it, and I was very, don't really like that. It costs a lot, fuel costs a lot, the lessons themselves cost a lot. I didn't have time to do my uni studies and my flying studies, so I gave up. I didn't give up the flying, but I was always going to come back to it. Of course, I never did. But then this comes along, and basically this is what I always wanted to do, just fly around the world and see places. And, you know, this is like 95% of the experience in a computer game. And I'm all about it. This is not a runway. This is a joke. It's been subsumed by the desert. Someone needs to clean this runway up. What's it even... Is it just they've scratched it out of the salt? They've just mowed the lawn and then we've just got the salt underneath? Is this basically Crate from Star Wars 8, was it? I think we're okay. We're coming in quite nicely here. Could even just do a little bit of a bit of power. Might be a bit short. Just don't want to be too slow this high. Here we go. Now we're over the, in quotes, runway. Now we can turn the power off, start our flaring. Boom. Not bad, not bad. Probably the best one I've done in this trip so far. So, slam on the brakes. Take our feet off the brakes, or finger in this case. Oh, we don't tip forward. There we go. We've arrived at Mina Airport, or whatever it was called, something like that. 22 minutes, leg 5, Nevada. Didn't see any aliens, except for the whole section that they stole and put back. Hope you can join me for the next one in a couple of days on the channel. See you then. Au revoir. Goodbye.